Once again, I welcome every one of us to this training. We are gradually moving on to the end of this training, and we are getting more deeper in our lessons. And I believe that you have been able to learn one or two things from the two previous lectures. So this is the third lecture that we are moving on to, and then it's going to be very, very full. It's going to be so detailed. So you need to take your time and listen and listen and listen again to be able to get the point that I'm going to be discussing in this video. This video should have come up twice, as in two times, but I just want to compress it to be one. So you're going to take your time to listen to it very well so that you can understand the points that are in it. This lecture is titled The Branding Process. So quickly, I'm going to move on to the definition of the branding process. So what do we mean by the branding process? The branding process is a series of well-defined activities designed to develop a value system and communication framework resulting in a brand cohesive identity. What are we trying to say here? In our previous lecture, I said to build a brand. I said branding is all about repetition and influence. If you don't have quality repetition in the market and you're not influencing people, you cannot make sale. And remember, we said that the sole purpose of brand or branding is that the brand should be in the market. So that is the end result of everything that we are doing, the market. And then not just getting to the market, but staying and remaining in the market. So there's no how you are going to have a repetition and you are going to build influence on people when you don't have a value system and a communication framework. If a brand does not have a value system and does not have a communication framework, then that brand will not last in the market. It will not have a repetition, neither is it going to have influence on the consumers or the buyers. To build a value system, a brand must go into four major activities. The first activity is research. The second activity, strategy. The third activity is design, while the last activity is execution. If you are going to have a value, if you are going to communicate a value, you are going to have a repetition, you are going to have influence in the market, these four activities must be well planned, must be well done, because this will be the basis and the fundament of you having an identity in the market. It will be the fundament of you having a reputation in the market. It will be the fundament of you having influence in the market. So you need to take your time to go on research, on strategy, on design, and then on execution. So these are what we call the branding process. Let us make a do of the first point, research. In branding, we have two forms of research that you are going to make. Number one, the internal research, then the external research. I am focusing on this as a brand consultant. So, as a brand consultant, you have two major work to do. Number one is either you are branding or you are rebranding. So, if you are branding, then we are looking at research in branding. What is the definition of research? Research is knowing where a brand stands in the market. So, it is the first framework that you need to do, because this is how you can be able to know this is where this brand is standing in the market. There are a lot of brands in the market, and each of these brands has a standpoint or a pinpoint. So when you are making research, you'll be able to know where this brand that you are building or working on also stand or fit in. Another thing is that when you are making research, it helps you to discover everything that the brand needs. There are a lot of things that a brand needs to come to visibility, to come to the market, to remain in the market, and to stay in the market, to be consistent in the market, and to have influence on people. So if you are making research will help you to know everything that a brand needs to be able to survive in the market.
And it also help you to make market survey. What is going on in the market? That is market survey. What is going on in the market? What are people buying? What are people selling? What is the most relevant selling point in market these days? How can this brand make sales? What should this brand start with? How should this brand continue or market their product? So it will help you to know the market survey. Because when you know the market survey, you know how to come into the market, you know how to attack the market, you know how to help the brand to position themselves in the market. So that is what the branding process is. The research process of branding is all about. It will help you to know the market survey.
In your research work as a consultant, you need to first look at the internal angle of any brand. Before you jump out and start laboring, then you, after all the effort, after all the labors that you have made on the brand for the brand, then when the brand now came up with their product or their service, then before you now see that everything is now going down, they are not making sales, they will think that you are not a professional. So before you put in effort in going outside, you need to first start from inside, which I call the internal research of branding. You need to first start from the inside to know how the inside looks like. And if you are working on the inside, you need to have the director on board. That's why you see the DRQ. You need to have the director on board, which means that you need the director. These questions, this research that has to be done internally must focus on the director, because or the owner or the CEO of the brand, so that you'll be able to know, okay sir, okay ma, what is your reason for building this brand? That reason it means that maybe the person discover a problem, or maybe the person has something in mind, or maybe the person see a challenge that the person want to solve, because if without a problem there cannot be a solution. So for your brand to be effective in the market, it must solve a problem, either a problem of a product or service, everything. Before there is a solution, there must surely be a problem. Before we make any research, there must surely be a problem. Before any company comes forward, there must surely be what they want to solve. So a company that is not coming out to solve a problem is not going to last long in the market. So that is the reason. What do you want to solve? Why do you start this brand? What problem do you see? What issue do you notice in the community? What issue do you notice? Why are you building this product? Why are you making this skincare? Why are you starting this lecture? Why are you running this service? There must be a problem. Now, after that problem, there must be a resolution. It means a solution. Okay, I am starting this because I saw that there's a problem in this angle and I want to address it. And this is how I am to address it. Oh, I saw that people are not looking as beautiful as God has made them to be. That's a problem. That's a reason. And my resolution is that I am coming up with a skincare product to make people look beautiful, to make people look attractive, no matter the situation they are passing through. And I am also going to make it as less as possible so that everybody can afford it. That is a resolution. So there must be a resolution, there must be a reason, and there must be a resolution. Then the third R to look on it to ask is, where is your region? As in, your problem might not be a general problem of the nation. It might be in a particular place. Are you targeting? Is it local or international? In the nation that you belong to, is it in Ogun State or in Lagos State? So for a brand to survive, a brand must have a reason, a brand must have a resolution, and a brand must have a region. So a brand that is region is Nigeria. The market research, the external research, and the market survey will be broader. A brand that is based on Lagos, you should know that the region is Lagos. You should know that the research will only based on Lagos, and if it's Ogun State, the research is only based in Ogun State alone.
And then if this brand is coming up to say the problem I saw is an international problem, and I have found a solution to that international problem, then you know that the region of that brand is international. Then you know that will determine the aspect of the research, the length or the volume of the research that you are making with the brand and on the behalf of the brand. When you are working as a consultant, you need to work with the brand. So you are not going to be doing the work alone. You are going to be doing the work with them. So when they are making you to do the work alone, then you should know that you are carrying all the burden of everybody. Then you know that your charges should be more than when you are working alone. Because here as a consultant, you are sharing expertise. You are exchanging expertise for money. So, and then one thing you should know is your reputation is above money. So when you are working, you also should work with a valuable reputation. Make sure that you have a quality reputation. Don't just focus on money alone. Make sure you also have a valuable reputation. The next point of your internal research is 3S, which is the size, the staff, and the strategy. Before anyone could come up to say they want to build a brand, a business, a company, or anything, the person should have a size in mind. How big is he dreaming of the company to be? Is he dreaming that this brand should be so big like any other brand, like Coca-Cola, like Dangote? Or is he a small size brand? Is the size of the brand small or big? Then when he has a size in mind, then surely he's going to have staff in mind. What are the kind of people that he wants to work with, or that he would like that they should work with him? So he must be able to look at, okay, who are the staffs that is going to work with you in this brand? If the person has not even thought of it before, you are going to help the person as a consultant. You must try to elucidate the person, illuminate the person to think. Because the quality of the workers, like I have said in the previous lecture, the quality of the workers that are working in a brand or in a company determines the quality of the company. It determines how the company will be valuable. So any CEO, any director must be able to think, who are the kind of people that is going to be staffing in his company? Then the next point is strategy. How did he plan to come out and solve the problem that he has said he wants to solve? What are his strategy to build this brand? Okay, how do you want to build this brand? Do you have a location in mind? Are you targeting a place? Do you want to stay in an elite place or in a local place? Are you looking for, your building? How do you want your building to look? These are the strategies. These are part of the strategies that somebody must put in to build a brand. So these 3S must also be in place. You must be able to examine the director or the CEO on these 3 points. You must know what the CEO is after. You must, what he is capable of, his mindset, his dream, his goal, his vision, the size, the staff, and the strategy. So after strategy, there must be target. Who are the people that this person is targeting? Is it the female? Is it the youth? And this target, you can also call it audience. Is it the married people? Is it the unmarried people? Is it those people that the swimmers? Is it the fishermen? There must be a target. Then, after the target, the director must have a tactics. These are evaluating questions. These are questions to ask to evaluate the mindset of any CEO or any director of any brand. So there must be a tactics. What is this? How are you going to get this attention of these people? How are you going to bring them to your side? How are you going to make sure they buy from you? That is tactics. Then What trust do you want to build on those people? This trust will come up in the quality of the service or the product that the brand is offering, and then how the brand is solving the problem of the people on time, even the response of the brand to the complaint of the audience or the target or the customers. Those are the things that's going to build up the trust of a brand. So these three segments of questions, from the R, the S, and the T, these are the three segments of questions that you need to evaluate a CEO. You need to try to check the point of view of a CEO from this segment. Look at the 3S, look at the 3R, the 3S, and the 3T. Just look at it, ask a question, ask questions. The more you have more clients, the more you study, because if you are not a learner, you cannot be a teacher. If you are not exposed, you cannot solve problems also. So the more you are also exposed, the more you also learn, the more you have more ideas, more information, more questions to ask based on these three segments. The more you have wisdom of words to be able to direct your words as you are asking the questions. So you need to be able to evaluate any CEO from these three segments so that you'll be able to know how you can proceed with your external research. If there is any point of correction that you felt that a CEO must have in those internal research aspects, then you must be able to guide him through. Don't forget, I told you, you are not a dictator. You are not dictating for the CEO. He owns the brand, he owns the business, he owns his money, he owns his profit, he owns his loss. You are just a one-time worker. Possibly your tenure with them might not even last more than a week. It might not even last more than a month. It might not even last more than a year. So, in this little time that you have with them, you need to make sure that you guide them through with simplicity and understanding and wisdom. You must not dictate. You must not speak down on them. You must not look down on him. A poor man can start a brand. An illiterate can have the money to build a brand. He might not even have anything, he might not even know anything. That does not mean that you are going to speak down on the person, look down on the person, talk down on the person. You are just going to play your role to guide the person, to make sure that you guide the person through. So, no abuse, no misunderstanding. Just play your role so perfect as a consultant. So let's move on to the external research of your aspect as a consultant. Now, if you are running an external research, there's only one point that you need to look into. After you have carefully asked the questions and you have carefully guided the CEO through the questions, and you have been able to come up with tangible reasons, tangible solutions, tangible targets, and everything that is needed to come up with. Then the next point that you need to look onto in the external research, there's only one target, only one goal in the external research, is the competitors. The only thing that can make a brand remain in the market is if the brand is competing well with the competitors. And the only thing that can make a brand to not remain in the market is if the competitors have enough of strength above the brand. So, standing in between the competitors, a brand must be able to beat a competitor or must be able to complement a competitor. So, other brand is either you are beating them or you are complementing them. If you are not beating them, if you are not complementing them, before you know it, that the brand that you are building or working on will surely move out of the market. So you must be able to beat, you must be able to complement. It's either you beat rather or you complement. A lot of brands came up to complement, and some came up to just beat. So if your brand that you are working on or the company that you are working with is not beating or complementing, then they're just going to leave the market. So you must understand this. There are a lot of what that person is conceiving to do. There are some other people that are already doing that thing. So you must carefully evaluate those people that are already doing that thing to know, to be able to make, you have to make research on them. So if this person is bakery, if you want to start producing bread for those people that have diabetes, There are a lot of companies, a lot of brands that are outside there that are producing the same bread. Now, you need to be able to carefully make research on those competitors. There are points that you need to search on each competitors. These points are your research angles to look into in each of the competitors. Number one, their strength. What is making these people to remain in the market? What are they adding to their product? What are they adding to their service that is making them to have more influence in the market, that is making them to remain in the market, that is making people to patronize them often? What are they doing? What is the strength that they have? Then another thing that you need to look on is their weakness. There's no how you will have a strength that you will not have a weakness. Then you have to find that weakness. What is the weakness that this brand has? So if you have 100 brands that you are making research on, you need to look carefully into all these brands one after the other. You look at their strength. Why is this one prospering? Why is this one prospering? Why is this one remaining in the market? Why is that remaining in the market? Or to make your work more effective, you need to look at, when you have 100 brands on ground, carefully make your research. Also, you will look at the strongest of this brand, and then the strongest might be 5, the strongest might be 2, the strongest might be 3. Then you also look at the weakest, as in the brand that are the ones that are not that effective in the market, and look at the ones that are so weak among them. They might be 10, they might be 15. So to narrow your research points and to make you have effective results, you look at these two angles of those brands. Check their strength, check their weakness. When you look at the first angle that are the most effective in the market, you'll be able to understand their strength very well. It might be difficult for you to find their weakness, but when you look at the second angle that are so weak in the market, you'll be able to find out their weakness. Why are they weak in the market? So examining these two will give you full scope of strength and weakness. Then on these two aspects, on these two angles of those external brands that you are working on, that you are making research on, then you will find their opportunity. What opportunity do the brand that have strength in the market, what opportunity do they have that is making their strength to continue? And these ones that are weak in the market, what opportunity do they have that they are not making use of? So knowing these things, this one that has strength has this opportunity, and that's why they continue to influence the market. These ones that are weak, I find this opportunity, but they are not making use of it. So you'll be able to, when you have this understanding of the both opportunities, it will help you in guiding your own mind also on the brand that you want to build. Because the brand that you are also building, another consultant will also make semi-research on the brand that you are working together with to build. So, and they will also look at the strength, they will look at the weakness, and they also look at the opportunity of the brand that you are also working on to build. So they will try to find out also, if you make that brand number one in the market, another consultant will make research on the brand. If that brand that you are building with, or you are helping the owner to build is the weakest in the market, another consultant also will make research on why is this brand weak in the market. So you need to have this, that you are presenting a value that in the nearest future, when a consultant is coming to make research of, they will celebrate you as a consultant. So after looking at this strength, the weakness, and the opportunity, the next thing that you need to look at is the threat. What is threatening this successful brand in the market? Every successful brand always have a threat. They will always have a point that they are guiding. They will always have some people that they are also trying to push away. They will have some people that they are also trying to overcome. Those people are their threat. That point at which they are guiding, that is the point of their threat. Those weak brands in the market, they also have threat. Their threat might be those successful brand. Their threat might be the vicinity that they are in. Their threat might be something else. So you need to be able to look at the threat of each of these brands. Then that time you'll be able to know, okay, if I'm building this brand that I want to work on, I must be able to overcome this threat. Because all these points that we are looking on will lead us to the next point of your branding. Then the last thing you need to look to make research on the competitors is the market. You have to look at the market. How are they successful in the market? What are people saying about them in the market? You cannot compare what people are saying on iPhone and then Samsung. You cannot compare it to what they are saying on itel and other products. So if your brand is coming up to say they want to build a phone, they have a lot of work to do. So you need to look at the market. What are people saying? And why are people saying what they are saying? So these are the research points that you need to know. And thank God we are in the social media world. Everything has just been made so easy. You don't need to start spying on the brand. All you just need to do is just to be on the social media, make research on social net, and before you know it, even some people has already made the research on ground. They are not using it for anything. They just made the research. So you can lay your hands on articles, on magazines, on a lot of things that you will be able to know the strength and the weakness of all these brands that are in the market. Carefully understanding this point will lead you to helping a brand to build a wonderful strategy. When you have understand both the inner and the internal and the external point of research, you have your jottings, you have your document, you have your point, you have your ways of addressing all these things. Then everything that the summary of everything that you are now doing will not be, the result will be in the strategy. Because you are not just making those research in vain. You are making those research so that the brand that you are building or that you are building with should come to the market and remain in the market. And if they will remain in the market, they must have a value system. Remember, that is what we call branding process. So quickly, let's talk on strategy. You see, everything you are making on research, the end point is to make it as a strategic point. Strategic point. So every effort that you have put in, both the internal effort and the external effort, the end point of it is that it should form a strategy. So as you are working with your client or the company or the brand, you need to understand that every effort that you are doing, that you are putting in, you need to help a brand to make a strategy, to build a strategy. So you have to develop a strategy template or a brand blueprint. In that blueprint, that's where you have everything that we are going to be looking at under the strategy. That's where you have it written down. So you have made your strategy, then you are coming up with the blueprint. So inside the blueprint, you are going to have what is called brand strategic point. The first strategic point of a brand is story. Under the story, we have what bet your brand. Every brand has a story. They has the record behind the purpose. There's a brand I have been buying from Jumia for sometimes. Then one of my friends just came up and told me, "Oh, have you heard of CDK?" I was like, "Oh, CDK." I said, I didn't know scams and the lies and the lies. Jumia is everywhere. So when the person asked me that have I heard of CDK, then he gave me the app. Then I went online to search for CDK. Then immediately I read the story of the owner of the CEO. Immediately I was glued with that brand. I was glued with that company. I was glued with that business. And ever since then, all my ordering, all my buying online has been with them. If you need the link for you to buy and get a bonus, I'm going to share the link on the WhatsApp group. So all my buying, all my online buying, of appliances, of things for business or anything has been with them. So a story, there must be something that bets that purpose. It is a story always bets a purpose. You know, this story always makes a brand to connect with the market, to connect with the consumer, because there will be some people that resonate with their story. There will be some people that their story has connection with. You know, immediately I read the story of that CEO of CDK, immediately I have a connect point with the brand. Then ever since then, we have been buying from the brand, ordering from the brand, from the company, and then they have been delivering their service with full trust. So a story always bet a purpose. That is number one. Now, purpose. Why? When you have a story, why do you not start this? Why? So your purpose is the why you start anything that you are doing. Then your vision is where. Okay, you have started this thing. Where are you taking it to? Where is your brand going to be in the nearest future? That is a vision. You know, vision is always the future, for the future. So when you say a purpose, you are talking about why. Okay, this is I have a story. Maybe when I was growing up, you know, I like TV. I don't watch TV. My parents don't allow us to watch TV. Now, okay, I now have a purpose that I want to start a school, and then in my school we are not going to be using just any media objects aside TV. The pupils of the school must be watching TV. I'm just trying to come up with something for us, you know. So why am I bringing it? So that, you know, these people, I know that, okay, the poor don't have television in their homes, and I cannot provide television for all the homes. Or let me say, okay, my story is that I like TV. When I was growing up, our parents don't have money to buy TV, and then I come up with a purpose. I'm going to build a tech firm, and I'm going to be making TV. And I'm going to be making the TV as low as at a cheaper rate, so that even the poor can have a TV to watch in their home. And I'm going to build a very quality TV at a cheaper rate. So you always see that a story and a purpose always have a connecting point. So a business owner might not have a story. You know, it's not everybody that has a story. It's not everybody that will have a touching point that they have suffered in the past. You know, the person might just come up with, okay, I saw a problem and I want to solve the problem. So I see that people lack TV, and I want to make TV, and that's my purpose. That is why I'm doing this brand. I want to start making TV. Now, there must be a vision also. This vision is, okay, this brand that I'm building with this purpose, this is where I'm going to take this brand to in the nearest future. This is where this brand must get to in the future. That is a vision. So in the next 5 years, this brand must be this, must be that, must be this. Then the next point is the mission. This mission is what we call commitment. These are the current tasks that we are going to be doing in order for us to fulfill our vision. The current task that will be running in the brand for us to get to our vision. So vision is the future. The mission is now, the current tasks that we are running. Then the next thing, we have the objectives, which are the manner. So these objectives shows the manner at which we are going to run our mission. These are the manner at which we are going to be putting our mission in place for success. So these are how we are going to be running our mission. This is the way, the strategy. Not the strategy. I'm talking about the guidelines and the principles of executing our mission. Then we have the next point is the positioning, which is the touch point. This is where we are going to be wishing the market. This is how we are going to stand in the market. This is where we are going to connect to the market. That is the touch point. Then number C is we have the personality, which is the message. These are our market communication. So you know, every brand has a communication point to the market. So these are our market communication. This is how we are going to be communicating in the market. Is it professionally? Is it casually? Is it friendly? So there must be a message, that there must be a communication point that we have in the market. So are we communicating? Are we enthusiastic? Are we encouraging people? Are we compelling people? So every brand always has their message, always have a story, a purpose, a vision, a mission, objectives, a touch point, then a message that they have. So these are strategies. These are the things that you need to work on. So I'm just going to give us a counsel here that you need to study more on this point. You need to understand this point very well. Beginning from the story to the message, you need to understand them very, very, very well, so that you will be able to help a brand or help the company that the CEO that you are trying to work with, so that you can be able to bring them to success and to bring them to utility point, to satisfactory point, whereby they will know that, oh, you know what you are doing, you are an expert in your field. And should in case you need me to explain more on this point, you have to comment. Just let me know in the comments, then we'll bring out each point and explain each point very, very, very well. So the next point is identity and design. So what is a brand identity, and then what is a brand design? This brand identity and design, they are the brand visibility standpoint in the market. Every brand has their identity and every brand has their own design. So let's look at the brand identity and design. Number one, the first identity of a brand is their name. This is how people know them in the market, the name. Coca-Cola is a name, Pepsi is a name, Apple is a name, CDK is a name, and all those other companies, all those brands. So these are identity. So people will know them by their name. Then number two, how people locate you in the market is by your logo. Your logo. Then people locate you in the market by your tone. Your tone is your manner of communicating your message. In the strategy we talk about message. So this your tone is your manner of communicating your message. The way your message is communicated in the market, that is your tone. Then people also knows you by your color. We've spoke about color a lot. There are a lot of colors, and then there are a lot of meaning to a lot of colors. There are color combinations, there are color templates. When you get the brand consultant blueprint, you are going to understand a lot more than what we are discussing here. We have a lot in the consultant blueprint, so which is a must for you to get under this training. So it's going to aid your understanding, it's going to aid your knowledge, and it's going to be a guide for you in a lot of things that we are not even discussing here. Your slogan is the next thing that is a brand identity. MTN everywhere you go. Actually, I don't know. You have been so familiar with that word that is I don't even know what Airtel use as their slogan. But when you say MTN, it's everywhere you go, and that the SIM card, that brand and their product is everywhere, because they are actually everywhere you go. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, your name, your logo, your tone, your color, your slogan, these are the identity of a brand. And then inclusive of the tagline. A tagline and a slogan works hand in hand with themselves. MTN always has hello. So that is their tagline. Hello. Sometimes ago I didn't call it yellow. Before I discovered that it's just hello. So it is their tagline. That's the tagline. Then their slogan is everywhere you go. You see that it works handy with themselves. Then in your aspect of your design, we have spoken a lot on this in the previous lecture. So this is just like, because a lesson must always come in with themselves. So in another aspect of your design, that's when we see the typography. When you have chosen a typography, like I have said, the minimum is 2, the maximum is 3. This typography must be consistent in all your designs. The typography must be consistent in everything, on the packaging, on the flyers, on the banners, on your ID card, on your product, on everything that you are doing. The design must be, the typography must be consistent. There must be one that stands for the name, there must be one that stands for the body, and there must be one that stands for any, maybe the call to action or the conclusion. So that is the maximum of 3 and the minimum of 2. So once you have chosen this typography from the beginning for your client, or maybe the client has chosen it for themselves, and these are what they have to be using consistently in their design product, in their design. So they can make research. You know, we are in technology world. You can go online. Okay, I am building a food factory. What type of typography will go in line for a food factory? When you go online, you search on Google, they will give you a lot of suggestions of typographies. Then you can pick, try out until your client sees the one that satisfies them. Then the typography, these things should be written down, documented on the brand blueprint. It must be documented on the template. It must be well written. All these things should be in a document for reference sake. So another thing is photography. We know what photography is. You know, when you are taking pictures, they must make meaning, they must speak meaning, they must communicate meaning. You cannot be standing for skin, you cannot be running a skincare brand and then your photographies are not speaking uniqueness or soft skin. You know, your photography must complement your purpose, must complement what your brand is doing. So when you are using photography, you must use photography that makes sense. You see, almost all design has photography, and some people call it archetype, but I also call it photography. There will be someone that will be used as a picture. You know, let me use that word. Maybe you understand. A picture. You know, there will be a picture that will be placed on the design, on the product, on the flyer, on the banner, on the paper, on everything. A picture will be there. So your photography must make sense. It must communicate meaning. It must communicate impact on the brand. So a brand must have a good photography, a unique one indeed. When you are making any design, it must make sense. You see, a design must not be too complex or complicated. There must not be color riot. Your color must speak. Your color can be mixed up, you know, it can be blended. But in every of your design that you'll be making, your color that you have chosen, maybe red, maybe blue, maybe white, maybe yellow, maybe green, maybe purple, maybe ashes, any of the color that you have chosen must show on all your design. It can be blended. That is why you can choose 2 or 3 colors. These things are going to be your identity in the market. It must show in all your designs. And then when you are having a good design, hire a good graphics designer, a good designer that can help you to design quality design. And don't just come out in the market and just come out with a design that does not make sense, that is not unique. So let your work present themselves well on graphics. Because these are your identity in the market. These are your standpoint in the market. These are how people will feel you. They will view you in the market. These are you see, once they see a good design, people always assume that the end result will be good. When they see a good name, a good logo, a good tone, a good color, a good slogan, a good tagline, a good typography, a good photography, a good graphics, people always assume that the end point will be good, the product will make sense. The last process here is the execution process. Definitely, everything that you have been laboring on is for execution. You are not passing through all this effort just to let it stay in a corner or in a paper. It must be executed. Now your execution process also must be written down. Now this is a point to note. All these things can be developed. Yes, they can be developed, not totally eradicated. Development does not mean eradication. Development just only means maybe adjustment or improvement, but you cannot eradicate it. Your purpose cannot be eradicated. Your story cannot be eradicated. Your name, your logo cannot be eradicated. But even sometimes on your name, there might not be any adjustment to it. There might not be any adjustment to your logo. That's why I said in the previous lecture that all those things must be trademarked and registered. Your name must be registered. Your logo must be trademarked. Your slogan must be trademarked. Your tagline must be trademarked. And I told you that if you need any of these services, I am offering a service. And I also told you that it's going to be a VIP access in this training. You are going to learn how to do this thing for yourself. And now, after learning how to do it for yourself, you're also going to learn how to do it for your client. So it will also be another source of income for you. So aside charging them on the consultancy, on the consultancy aspect, then you'll be able to charge them also on those special services. So what are these execution process that we have? We have 3 execution process. We have number 1, we have the people, we have the platforms, and we have the product. So these people, they are talking about your targeted audience, your audience. Now the platform is talking about where you can find them. Currently now, we find our audience in a lot of places. Where can you find your audience? So that is your platform. The first P is people. That is the targeted audience, the people that your brand is for. They are your people. Then the next point is your platform. This platform is where you are going to find those people. The college I went to has an external angle of training those people that are in the prison. That is their target, their people. Where are they going to find these people? Anyone in the prison cannot be on social media. So these people have to, the school has to move in to prison so that they can be able to get their people. So the most important of this P is the product. So no matter how you have people, no matter how you know their platform, the platform to find them, if you don't have a product to reach out to them, then all this effort is a waste. So this is now the time for your brand to start their product or service. So to reach this is the execution stage. Now is not the time to put everything in place. Now the product must be in place, or the service must be well documented and be in place. You have known the people, you have known the platform, then you have a service on ground to reach them. Then the brand is good to go. So at this point, the next thing that the brand will need to study that is not in this course is marketing. Branding and marketing are two different things. They link into themselves, but they are two different things. So the next thing that the brand we need to study at this point is marketing. So and that will be coming up. We'll be discussing a lot on marketing on the BIS. On the BIS is that it's a platform I created that anybody that have access to it will learn a lot of things. As a consultant, if you are not working on branding, then you'll be working on rebranding. So I have the first explanation as based on how you can brand, as in that is you building from scratch till to the top. So on this second aspect, I'll have just a quick explanation on rebranding, because the same knowledge you use in the first will be used in the second also, in this aspect also, but their approach will just have a little difference, approach. But is it the same thing that you are going to still put in place? Because when you're also rebranding, you have to still pass through all the process that you pass through in branding, which is the research, the strategy, the identity and design, and the execution. So you are going to pass through the same process also in rebranding, but in this angle your approach will be different. So what you are looking here is the approach. The first approach is ask for workers' point of view in a workshop. If you are rebranding, this brand is already existing. They have workers, they have You know, they have products, they have their platform, they have their people, they have their standpoint, they have their purpose and everything they have. Now, but they are not prospering. Now you are not in to make them prosper. For you to approach this very well, the first work that you need to do is to have a workshop. It means gather everybody working in that organization, everybody from the head to the toe. Now you might exclude the director, because you know people might be ashamed, they might feel shy, they might feel reluctant to speak before their director or before the CEO. But just make sure that you have a workshop that gathers every aspect of the brand. If they have the accounting aspect, have a discussion with them separately. The reception aspect, have a discussion with them separately. All the segments of the brand, you must have a workshop with them and ask their point of view on the brand that they are working with, because they are actually the voice, they are actually the strength of the brand. So what they say will help you to know, to start your research point, to start your work with the brand. It will help you to know where to come in, where to stand, what to address and what not to address. You see, through this workshop that you have done, you'll be able to understand what the problem is. Because this is another approach that you must first understand. After you have gone through all the workshop, you have asked the owner of the company some series of questions, you have asked the workers some series of questions. Then the next thing that you need to do is that you need to understand what the problem of this company is. Why are they not in the market? Why are they not relevant in the market? Why are they not influencing the market? The problem. Understand the problem. Then the next thing is you have to evaluate the brand process. And when I mean brand process, you know what I'm trying to say here. I'm trying to tell you about the research, the strategy, the identity and their design and their execution. You have to evaluate. After you have understand the problem, evaluate their process. Maybe they have a mistake in their process. Then the last thing you're going to do in the branding is to come up with a possible solution. Maybe you are dissolving everything that they are doing and you are building a possible one, or maybe you are just trying to address a point, or you are giving them more marketing side. Maybe everything is perfect, all they lack is marketing. So as a consultant, you must have a forefront idea of marketing. When you get access to the BIS, which are called Business Inspection Studio, you will be learning and talking on marketing and a lot of points. So at the end of this course, I'm going to be introducing the BIS to you so that you can know, you can actually be a partaker of the BIS. So these are the 4 points that you need to work on as a consultant that is working on rebranding an existing brand. In conclusion, all these points I have explained are the major points that you need to know as a brand consultant. But there's one thing I want you to know, that knowledge is not limited. This point has given you an edge, a foundation. It has established you. It has made you to know your work, what to do, what not to do. But this is not all. You still need to know more on this point. You still need to study more on this point. You still need to go online, access more information, buy books, read a lot, so that you'll be a professional in your field. And I pray that the grace of God will be sufficient for every one of us, myself, yourself, your family, and your business. In Jesus' name, amen.